Who am I speaking with today?
My name is Peter Chapman. I'm from Cheltenham, and I'm closer to 70 than I am 60. In 1997, I bought a bungalow in the village of Cowley and spent a lot of time rebuilding it. Normal day will be get up at 6 o'clock. I've been doing that ever since I can remember. It'll be making my daughter's breakfast and my wife's breakfast, setting out the medication for my daughter and my wife. I play the guitar and the piano, and every now and again we have a bit of a sing-song. I spend a lot of time doing physiotherapy with them. My wife goes on the treadmill, but I've got a holder on there whilst she does it. And she's also got a bike that she rides. She doesn't go anywhere on it. It's a static bike, exercise bike.
It seems like a lot of your day is obviously looking after your wife and everyone. And that's admirable. But when you get some time to yourself, what are the places, like, where do you spend your time?
In the garage, fixing motorcycles. I love fixing motorcycles. It's my hobby. I've been doing it since I was 10. So I've had a lot of experience with motorcycles. I love all motorcycles. If they've got an engine and two wheels, I'm there. And then, usually at midday, I'll take the dogs out and go to my favourite haunt, which is the Green Dragon. And my father took me there in 1964 and sat me outside in the porch and gave me a packet of crisps and a bottle of Vimto.
How did DIY SOS first approach you or sort of get involved with your life in a sense?
I had been struggling at home, and my cousin wrote to them, and I wrote to them in fact, and didn't hear anything for about a year. And then I did a handwritten letter to them with some photographs to back up what was going on at home. And within 4 days of posting it, I had a phone call. At first I thought it was a joke, somebody winding me up, but it turned out that wasn't the case. And within about a week, somebody from the BBC's programme DIY SOS presented themselves at my home. With DIY SOS, it was unfortunate. It was February when they started, February 2020, just before COVID started. I'd got hold of DIY SOS at the end of 2019, and they'd met my daughter and had already filmed her in her home. She was very disabled, couldn't walk, practically non-verbal, needed a full-time care 24 hours a day. DIY SOS stepped in to help me finish the house so that I could really concentrate on them. Sadly, it didn't really go to plan. Margaret became ill, went into hospital, and this was the beginning of COVID. Sadly, she passed away on the 3rd of January 2020. DIY SOS, however, decided to go ahead with the build, and during the 2 weeks that they were filming, it was one of the 2 worst storms in Britain for 20 years, which I think hampered their activities. After that, it became pretty apparent that there were many things that were not quite right. I noticed there were little presents all over the place. So I set up a camera to see if I could find the mice, and sure enough, the camera pinged one night and there was one little field mouse. It turned out they were getting in through a hole in the side of the house underneath the terraced that had been recently built. It was the BBC's DIY SOS who installed the decking, and unfortunately it had started to fall apart after 6 months of being installed back in 2020. So I decided to take it all up, and lo and behold, there was the hole where the mice were getting in. But I couldn't see the hole until I'd taken up the decking. We loved DIY SOS. We watched every episode, and it always seemed to me that it was reliable, and they seemed to be able to manage to cope with any eventuality that they were challenged with.
When they began to sort of plan things around your house, get involved in that aspect of being in your home, how did that process feel at the time?
It was a little bit awkward because my daughter Margaret had passed away before they really started getting the designer team round. So we had that to cope with. We had her death to cope with, her illness, her death, and then her burial. So it was, to be fair, it was just a little bit like a blur to me. There was a moment where I sent an email saying I'm not happy with this, and I pretty much was about to cancel it, and they talked me into going ahead. I haven't watched the whole program. I stopped it halfway through because I'd already asked for them not to show the program on television because there were so many issues with the build that they had done. I thought that I had got what we needed out of them, but as time went by, I realised that not everything was quite what it seemed. Yeah, I felt exploited. I felt that I hadn't really been listened to. For instance, there were issues with the floor straight away because I insisted that they put carpet back. The carpet wasn't very old. The new carpet was only about 6 months old, and they threw it away and then put lino down, which my wife couldn't cope with that, and nor could the dogs. It was a little bit like Bambi on ice for everybody, and there were several occasions where accidents could have happened. I think they realised their mistake when they had to put the chairs on a big rug to stop them slipping backwards, which a rug in itself is a tripping hazard for my wife. Yes, the roof still leaked, which is really why I contacted them in the first place. So the roof had to be redone. The driveway had to be redone, completely relaid. And there wasn't. I'm still finding things wrong today. There are things there that still need attending. For instance, there's a floor that's held up by a car scissor jack, and I've put 3 of those in place to hold the floor up, so I know the floor needs redoing. And part of the floor, when I walked on it, it fell through. Fortunately, it wasn't my wife walking on it, which could have been catastrophic. Yeah, it was angry. I was angry. DIY SOS were aware of it. At first, they decided to bring people up to repair these issues, But in the end, they decided to offer me compensation instead, as long as I signed an agreement that I would never talk about their shortfalls. But I didn't take it. Right now, it's not really about the money. What I'd really want from them really is an apology, not only to me, but to all the tradespeople that helped. It wasn't their fault. They were under horrendous pressure. And I think a lot of them that I've spoken to have said never again. They'd wished that they'd not entered into to helping with DIY SOS. I think they're not paid, but the BBC, the DIY SOS, are paid extraordinary amounts of money and sell these copies of the film all over the world, and they're constantly getting royalties. And I think it's done a lot of harm for me personally, and for everybody around me. I'm starting to believe that they don't have any remorse, otherwise I'm sure that would have come to light. Yeah. There must be others out there that have had a similar situation. I do know of a family in Bristol that has had the same situation. I'm assuming because they tried to pay me off and get me to sign a legal document where I wouldn't discuss it with anybody, I'm assuming that anybody with any complaints with them, I'm assuming they paid them off. It wasn't the tradespeople's fault. It was the BBC's fault. They know that they made a mistake. They realised that the things that they did weren't right and weren't put right. It's difficult to get my mind off what they did and how they treated me more than anything. If I had any regrets at all, it would be letting them have my family albums. They still have photographs of my departed daughter Margaret, and they haven't returned them. For future references to any producers that do shows, television shows like this, I think they should really be more caring about what they've done to people, and make sure what they have done to them, for them, impacts them in a positive way. For me personally, I felt then like a target, and I still do now. I've noticed that a lot of tradespeople don't want to work for me, don't want to do anything for me.
What do you hope comes from this documentary?
I just want my photographs back and an apology, but a public apology. Nothing more. I don't want any money. Just an apology for what they've done to me. What they show on the television is far from reality in what they've really done. I feel whenever I go out, I feel like I'm looking over my shoulder. I can never relax in public. It's affected me that bad. I only go to one place out in the country because I know they know me there, and they also understand the situation.
Do you think the effects of being on TV have lasted longer than you expected them to?
Yes. I think they'll stay with me forever, really.